Fantastic. Thank you, everybody. I hope you have a pleasant session this morning yet. I mean, the previous speaker has shared very good insights on how to start a business on the e-commerce, on the front end side, on the sales and marketing side, you know, essentially everything on the front end. I think today what I'm going to address a little bit more is on what you can do on the back end, right? I mean, if you've started a new business, you've started a business, you've been running a business, you will know that the front end, it's all good and dandy, but then who's running it? The HR people, the team that you have built over the years, right? It could be a new business that you assembled together. So the thing is that the challenge of managing external, your CRM, your ERP, it's operational. But what runs these systems are the people that you have on the team. So there's always another dimension to business, right? Which is how do you manage people that's on your team that's running your systems? So this is what I'm going to address today. So let's talk a little bit about JustLogin. For us, JustLogin, we are one of the first few software companies that right now we are looking at this HR sphere, and we're looking at the fact that we are building one of the first few employee-first HR software. And what do you mean by that? Let's take a look at our customer base. We have about 2,000 customers across the region, small businesses as small as 1 employee to 1,000 employees. So we know what businesses are facing in the general. I mean, we can see them from our data, we can see them from the usage, we can see them from day-to-day interaction with these customers of ours. So we have a good view of the landscape of what's happening on the HR space for all these businesses. Now let's take a look at the new workforce, right? I mean, one of the key challenges now, everyone's talking about COVID, about what happens after COVID, what's going to happen during COVID. I mean, one of the key challenges is that there's a fundamental shift in this new workforce arena that you see. This new workforce is coming into the market. And what I mean about this new workforce is actually your employees. Now, if you notice that over the years, you'll find that gradually more and more companies are increasingly having a very dispersed workforce. No longer do you start a business when we all first started our businesses in the beginning, or we first joined the first few companies. We noticed that everybody works in the same office. They clock in exactly at 9, they leave exactly at 6, or whatever. Basically, the idea is there's an office which everyone goes to. But nowadays, the organizations are very different. You're starting to hear about small startups that are MNC on day one. The founder from Singapore working with maybe a CTO from India, with developers maybe in Ukraine. You're seeing this immediately on day one. They are MNC on day one. These companies are incorporated almost immediately with a workforce that's really dispersed. And for us in JustLogin, our team is very dispersed. We have a team in Malaysia, we have a team in the Philippines, we have a team in Myanmar, and we are all working collectively. One of the key things that's driving this is the rise of internet, right? I mean, internet has made this communication collaboration between these teams a lot easier. You don't have to be physically in one office to do this job. The other shift that we see is that nowadays, your workforce is also going to be a mix between permanent staff, gig staff, as well as what you call part-time staff and what you call gig staff, right? Employees that maybe work for a couple of hours, work on very specialized, or this particular job function is actually outsourced to other companies. So you will find that your workforce no longer will be the same. You need the HR, you hire headcount. You need sales, you hire headcount. Some of these cases whereby your sales actually could be an outsourced team. Your HR is outsourced team, your marketing could be an outsourced team as well. So these are what's happening. This is what's going on in the market now. Companies will find that it's going to be a mix between permanent staff, then part-time workers, as well as even gig workers as part of the workforce. And companies that do it well, take a look at Grab, right? Grab doesn't have a huge workforce of drivers, but yet again, it's one of the biggest transportation companies in the world. Think about that. So they don't really hire many drivers themselves. Yeah, most of them are actually contractors. So these are sort of insights you have to think, right? For example, Airbnb is one of the biggest, I would say, travel accommodation play in the world, but they don't own any hotel rooms. So that's what's going to happen in the future, whereby a mix between permanent, temporary, and gig. Now, the last thing that I look at here is that your workforce is going to be extremely, mostly tech savvy. One of the key things is because they are probably born in the time whereby internet was very pervasive. They born in a time where they're already SMSing each other. They don't call on the phone anymore. They just WhatsApp each other. So technology is very comfortable with this new workforce. Now, why is this so? Let's take a look at the workforce that you have today in your suite. All right. I mean, these are probably a good mix of the uh, age group, okay, of work that we have in our workforce today. Now, we have those that's probably still working today, 1945 maturists, but I would say that majority of them are actually retired. They are no longer active in the workforce, right? So if you think of a company setup currently, I would imagine that you probably don't have many um, workers there that was born in 1935 and and before that, right? You don't have that many, but you might have one. He's the chairman of the business. He's the founder of the business. No, usually that's the case. The next phase that you will see is those born 1945 to 1960s. Yeah, they're still pretty active in the business. They're still pretty active in the workforce, and they're usually about 20% of the workforce. These are the people that was born during the Cold War period, during the end of World War II. They're the period whereby they haven't dealt with so much technology yet. So they're more comfortable, more face-to-face meeting, telephone, email, maybe a bit of telephone email. Some of them, they don't even like telephone, or they don't like email. So you can understand that this group of people, they probably behave differently versus the subsequent groups that you will see. Now, next we come into Gen X group, right? The Gen X group is a different portfolio of employees. So you find that probably the group workforce, about 30% of the employee base is within this age group, right? They are right now currently probably in middle management or senior management, right? Um, they have kids, they're managing both senior management as well as a team that's working under them. And for them, they were born in an era where internet, or I would say personal computers, starting coming in. They're getting used to SMS. They were in a time when SMS was very popular. Emails were just starting. So most of the communication method is, send me an email, send me an SMS. Probably not so, I mean, they probably do a bit of WhatsApp, but I would say that the general preference, these are the kind of psychology that probably go to. They try to struggle work-life balance at this stage. Now, the next group of employees that you probably see is the millennials and what you call Gen Z. The Gen Y and the Gen Z. These are the ones that was born close to 2000, right? Or at least active during the years 2000, where internet was starting to pick up. They are really familiar with social media, Facebook, MySpace. They were grown up in that time. So for them, it's almost like the mobile phone and tablets were also coming up. You find that it's almost surgically attached to their hands, right? It's somehow stitched into their hands. You can't deal with them without going through the smartphone. You can't even talk to them. You have to WhatsApp these group of people. So this is exactly what's happening. You'll find that a majority of our workforce today are the millennials. And you have to think, how do these millennials engage? Because chances are, if you're in middle management, if you're senior management, you probably find that I don't understand this group of people. How do I deal with them? And you find that why can't they work like us? That's the reason why they were born in a different era, they were brought up in a different era. So you have to understand that your workforce mix has changed, right? So you have to start catering. And this pie, the last pie, the millennial pie, will only get bigger. So what about millennials, right? Think about it. Since 2011, approximately 10,000 baby boomers, this is probably US statistics, 10,000 baby boomers are turning 65 a day, and they're retiring every day, right? And this will continue for the next 15 years. So in other words, a lot of the baby boomers will start leaving the workforce. So you're going to get more and more millennials coming into the workforce, right? So what happened is that your internal processes, your HR processes have to cater to this group of people. You cannot say, hey, just because you're younger, listen to what I do. I used to run it that way. Now I want to run it this way. It won't work because they're going to be more than 50%. If they were minority, yeah, maybe you can say my way or the highway. But they're now going to be a majority of the workforce. You have to start thinking how they like to be engaged. Now, one of the key things that researchers have noticed is that this millennial team or millennial workforce, the aspirations are very different. Okay, they're no longer looking at pure financial it's like I'm exchanging your time for the number of, for the money, right? I'm paying you the money to exchange for your time. It's no longer the case. For them, they are looking for more aspiration. What career opportunities do you have? Nowadays, when I look at resumes from this bracket of workforce, most of them work for 1, 2 years and they move on to a next job. So you're gonna expect that employees that you hire today, chances are they only have a lifespan of working for a company for me 1 to 2 years to 3 years. That's reality. You can't avoid it. And you cannot write them off as saying, it's just this person. No, it's the whole group of them. The workforce will behavior is going to change. And the reasons are very simple. If their aspirations are growing faster than your company, then unfortunately you will not be able to maintain that. You will not be able to hold on to them because your company is not growing as fast or adapting as fast to their expectations. And before you know it, they learn enough, they grow and feel that enough, they want to go to somewhere else. There you go, right? They'll find another opportunity elsewhere. So today, think about it, have a think. Your workforce is no longer the same group of people. You have to start thinking, how do you engage them, right? Especially when I build, turnover for a company is not good. It's not healthy, and it's very difficult to keep training new employees as they come on board. So you have to think about how do you keep them, how do you engage them. And it's a lot more work than before. And look at the millennials across the region, right? All throughout global APAC, China, it's the same thing. What we're seeing is that millennials on average spend about 2.8 hours a day on their mobile. Almost 1 full day a week on their mobile device. Think about it, cumulative hours, all right? That's about equivalent to 48.5 days over the course of a year. That means a whole month worth of time, or at least close to 1.5 months worth of time on a mobile device of a whole year. That's a lot. So if 10%, you think about it, that's almost 10% of your engagement with employees, not through a mobile device, you're losing 10% of their attention. So this is something you have to think about, right? And this drives down to the same problem with SMEs faced, right? One of the few things you'll notice is that SMEs have poor workforce visibility. Because of this new arrangement, if you have been running your HR through very traditional means, using a notebook to take time and attendance, using paper to apply for leave, you'll find that, first of all, you can't really see, because if you're trying to bring all these gig workers, part-time workers into this space, you'll find that you can't really see what they're doing. They're right out there. You have very poor force visibility. It's very difficult for you to offer jobs of this nature to them because you can't really see them. The other thing to look at here is that if your paperwork is very tedious, they'll spend a lot of time just trying to do the admin work. That's time wasted for your employees, right? If they're just if everything is manual, you open out a spreadsheet, type a new spreadsheet, or use a paper base through letters, unfortunately, this will be a big turnoff for the new workforce that we're looking at here. And the other thing, if given that Singapore situation, the government's pretty clear. On the other aspect, compliance now is getting more and more risky, right, for companies, because there's a lot more paper trail, digital trail. Um, look at the recent cases with 12 cupcakes out. The reason they can dig out communications from 3 to 4 years back simply because it's all on digital. So there's always this compliance risk, poor employee experience. You want to keep them, you give them paperwork to fill. Here, apply for leave. Give them an email. Give them a form to fill. They'll be turned off. So we'll talk about poor employment workforce visibility. Is that one of the key things you notice is that with this COVID, a lot of employees don't really want to come in to work full time anymore. Recently in our Malaysia office, we were trying to convince some employees to come back to work, maybe two to 3 times a week. The feedback from the employees is that, maybe 2 or 3 times is really inefficient. We spend too much time on traffic. I think what's ideal is to come back one time a week. And this is reality. Employees really find that since working from home from COVID for almost a whole 24 months or these 2 years, right? They're very comfortable. They have a desk set up. They're very comfortable with routine. They save so much time. They see the benefits of it. They're no longer willing to come home ready, come back to office to work regularly. And it's a permanent change. I think this mindset will not go away. Companies will use this opportunity to attract more talent, and employees will start demanding this from new future for companies in the future. And one of the key things that we noticed based on surveys as well is that a lot of tasks that HR managers are doing can actually be automated. I hear the horror stories where HR managers spend weeks or days or months, right? Or let's say running payroll, just running payroll itself. They actually could be spending a couple of hours every week just to process people's payroll and still not make payroll on time. So this is one of the key challenges that you have to think about, right? I mean, a lot of systems that you have for HR is still very manual. If those are manual, there's actually a solution out there that might be able to automate that. Staying compliant, as I mentioned about 12 cupcakes. I mean, CPF, for example, has been checking, auditing a lot of companies, and they claw back almost $2.7 billion from employers in the last 5 years. Now that's a big number, right? If you think about it, this number is coming from a case whereby maybe it could be in the middle of a crisis, like during COVID. I mean, if you stay compliant, at least you know what your risks were, right? It could be avoided. But then when you couple it with fines and sudden clawback, it will be a big hit on the cash flow. So these are risks that businesses will face if they if they can't keep their even basic CPF or salary payments, to be compliant with what under the regulations. This is the risk you have to bear. Lastly, poor employee experience. You have 80% of employees who generally rate the employee experience as a priority. If you do not give your employees a good experience, chances are they will give you just a negative productivity, right? They will probably give you decreased performance. There's a lot of things that's intangible. Can't really give, say, you spend 3 hours means you generate X. It doesn't work that way. In fact, maybe if you make them a little bit happier, cost you almost zero, but yet on the other hand, it can drive a huge increase in productivity. And one of the key drivers of all these unhappiness, it could be as clumsy as how frustrating it is to file my expenses. Imagine I have to do my expenses every month, and this experience is so negative that I really hate the system. I just don't like the system the company is using. Think about that. I mean, I got many cases where I just dread doing expenses for companies that I work for. And usually that's the case. And when I miss the deadline, I find that, finance won't pay me a few $100s because I missed the deadline. And that was just a very bad aftertaste. And after that, I just feel that, this company is not adopting new tech to make our lives better. They don't value my time, then I probably won't give them my time. So that's how employees would think going forward. So how can we digitize the business processes? I mean, this is how we envision, right? I mean, let's take a look at what our customers are actually saying. For example, let's take a look at Owndays, which one of the key customers that we have today.
Working at Owndays is a unique experience for employees. We have a transparent and open culture, and we try to keep communication line flowing between all levels of our staff structure. Our shop manager and area manager are selected by election, so it is voting by staff and not based on level of education or length of service, so everyone has a fair opportunity to lead. When Owndays first expanded to Singapore, there weren't yet any HR specialists on board to clarify or manage benefit and entitlements. Our HR division was soon formed and got right to work cultivating the same corporate values shared by all Owndays divisions. Fair work-life balance, benefit, and giving a chance to those who aspire to achieve more. But in order to take care of the people, first we had to cut down on the paperwork. When the new HR team started, the system in place wouldn't getting the job done the way we needed them to. For example, payroll was manually processed, making it tedious and time-consuming. Leave entitlement were unclear and not standardized. Time and attendance were tracked with a punch card machine with employees physically traveling to the office to submit timesheet. So much time wasted. And then we found JustLogin. With Just Payroll, we shortened our payroll process from 1 week to 2 days. Everyone has a smartphone these days, so our employees just log into the mobile app to check their payslip. With Just Leave, they can check leave entitlement and apply leave from their mobile phone too. And JustClock is so simple. Employees just clock in and out directly through iPad at every one of our retail outlets. No more traveling required to collect all the employee timesheet from our 26 outlets in Singapore. As a retail business, our employees play a vital role in representing our brand, so it is important to us that they are well trained and feel valued by the company. JustLogin allows our HR staff to focus on what matters, our people. Now we can focus on priorities like employee engagement, internal training, improving staff benefit instead of wasting time on paperwork. With JustLogin, employee satisfaction is high, our customer service consistently exceeds expectations, and we grow to 26 locations in Singapore. JustLogin isn't just good at what they do, JustLogin makes us better at what we do.
Okay, so the main thing about JustLogin itself, is we have built an app that's purely totally on the cloud. So the good thing, as you know today, most software, if you're not invested, you've not migrated your current system to the cloud, you're losing all these benefits, right? The key thing about having a cloud HR system on the cloud is that you got real-time visibility. So if someone clocks in, someone does any leave application, running a payroll, everything is real time. You no longer spend traffic or time just trying to deal with connectivity issues, or whether or not information is shared out properly on real time. You get real time information. That's a key thing, especially in this time where things are moving a lot faster. You save a lot of time and money as well, simply because you just don't have to deal with a lot of manual work, a lot of unnecessary logistics. Other thing to look at here is that you need to remain compliant. The system, because it's always updated. It's a cloud-based system. If there's a CPF change, the system will be updated. Holidays will be updated. You do not need to do anything else. So that will make sure that your system is always compliant. And generally, what happens is that employees enjoy using the system, because one good thing about it, they probably can do most of the stuff through the mobile phone, and the employee satisfaction will increase just dealing with HR, right? All the HR interactions doesn't require a lot of painful process to deal with. Friction will be reduced. Employees will generally be happier about that. So what's next for us? We have a cloud. We talked about the cloud HR platform. What we envision as we evolve this platform is to build a more mobile first, employee first platform. So let's take a look at what this might look like in a mobile first setup. So what I've seen just now is how we envision a mobile in this dealing with millennials. Everything has to be mobile first, right? The whole interaction with the HR platform is not even through the browser; it's through a mobile device. So we have, over the last 2 years, we rolled out a new application that's our JustLogin app that allows you to access pay slips on the go on your mobile device device, leave management, clock in, clock out, even expense management can be captured through a mobile phone and mobile app. Now that is quite a big deal if you think about it. So they don't even have to do the manual process at all. They don't even do emails. They don't even do Excel. It's all through a mobile app. Just make sure employees all install this and they're good to go. Now that's a huge saving to HR, a huge time saved to employees as well. And of course, for the management side, for the HR, I mean, trying to run payroll on your mobile phone is not an ideal experience. So we have pretty much um, linked all this up from the mobile app into a web-based system, right? So when it comes to managing employees, it's still on this cloud-based system. There's a lot of automation built in. It's all tailored, it customized, it's highly configurable, and it's always compliant because we keep updating it. So that's the benefit of running a cloud-based platform and then all linked up to a mobile app. So let's talk about next is what's going to happen now that COVID, is coming. Well, it will eventually end, but companies are starting to go back to office. So, but the thing is that going back to office now for some employees and companies is quite difficult because there are a lot of safety measures you now have to put in place. Safe distancing. You're trying to do a lot of rostering, scheduling, so that make sure that everyone is kind of like in compliant with the regulations. So even Singapore itself, you have to cater to all these situations. So what's available now? Let's take a look. We have rolled out this new device called SafeClock, and see, and this will could potentially help you as you get more and more employees back to office.
SafeClock is an all-in-one contactless temperature scanner, door access, visitor management, and employee attendance solution to help you transition your employees back to the workplace safely. Employees can clock in and out of work daily via facial recognition. The timings and temperatures are automatically captured in a split second and sent into your online portal in real time. The device detects high temperatures and will send administrators an alert via email or push notification if any employee is running a fever. SafeClock can also protect your workplace by acting as a door access. You can configure access based on registered faces, body temperature, and even detection of masks. Employees' clock timings on the device will be reflected in attendance reports to track working hours and overtime. SafeClock is also integrated back to JustLogin's full suite of HR applications, allowing you to seamlessly manage employee payroll, leave, attendance, and expenses even when you work from home. In Singapore, you can also integrate your work premises safe entry into SafeClock. Automatically check into safe entry when you walk through the door. You can also integrate a QR code, be it for the purpose of safe entry, MySejahtera, Leave Home Safe, or any tracing system your country is using. SafeClock also works as a visitor management system for a seamless visitor experience. Visitors can simply scan a QR code to submit their safe entry information. SafeClock will then send you a push notification on your mobile app where you can easily use it to open the door for visitors remotely. The visitors' information are collected for contact tracing purposes so that you can always keep track of who visited your office. Clock in to work safely with SafeClock by JustLogin. SafeClock is an all-in-one employee attendance solution to help.
So that's so we have, we've considered the fact that move this out of the way. Yeah. So we have considered the fact that everyone's moving back to the office eventually, and this was something that our R&D team has built over the last 12 months. We have considered the fact that if companies this will be the new normal, right? They want automated system, integrated system that's able to not only open the door, but as well to capture the face attendance, capture temperature scanning, do all that as well as visitor management. And with this device, you can actually put it on all your entryway. You can actually scan all your temperature and link up to safe entry all at the same one. So And this, the best thing about this is all integrated into our cloud-based platform. So HR don't need to worry about, whether or not the employees has a device working and so forth. Everything is all integrated. You don't need multiple devices, one for temperature, one for door access, one for time and attendance. So it's all integrated in one nice device. And today, JustLogin, we have made a lot of efforts to integrate our platform to other systems out there. So for accounting, we already integrated Xero, QuickBooks, and NetSuite. Other platforms that we integrated in terms of payment is that now you can pay if you've got a cash flow situation or you want to pay employees with credit card. You can consider options like using CardUp, using a REIT, which allows you to pay employee salaries um, through a credit card. There's also MatchMove, which we are integrating to a payroll wallet right now. The other things that we're looking at here is that integrate into performance management or even recruitment. These are all, we are building this ecosystem out. So in the future, what you're going to see is that there's going to be more systems that we may integrate ourselves into. Currently, there's a lot of schemes available in Singapore for you to use. So please consider doing a system upgrade at this moment. There's a lot of grants for you, PSG, SkillsFuture, DRB. These are our grants available for all Singapore-based companies, and we have never seen such a high grant level before, and the government is essentially encouraging companies to digitize. So I urge companies who are considering for a long time to take the plunge right now, because this is a great time to digitize your organization. So maybe I'll just have a random poll with the group members. Would you be interested to speak to us? Please let us know, and we would love to hear from you. Okay. Yep, that was flashed out. I mean, the poll just came and left. Okay, so nevertheless, if you need to learn more about with us and you want to speak more with us, please feel free to reach out these coordinates. You can scan this QR code. You can drop us an email, phone. We will be more than happy to speak to you, to help you through this journey to digitize your HR. So with this, back to you, Lauren.
All right, thank you, Joe Hao. A wonderful presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed that as well. Let's give him a virtual round of applause. Let's say thank you. Through the chat, you can type clap, 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 you can type applause. It's really up to you. And of course, if you have any questions, just go ahead and leave them in the Q&A. But I believe we're a little bit short of time right now. So Joe Hao, if you could be so great to show us that QR code one more time, just in case people want to get in touch with you, that'd be wonderful. And if you could leave your contact details in the chat box as well, that'd be great.
Sure, I'll do that.
Yeah, so we'll give you guys a couple of seconds to maybe take a screenshot or scan this with your smartphones or mobile devices. Alternatively, you can always get through to Joe Hao and his team through the contacts, which we're going to be leaving in the chat box right now. And for those who just joined us, welcome once again. This is the SME Digital Fest 2021 Asia's Leading SME Conference, proudly brought to you by Exabyte Singapore. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day so far. We just wrapped up Joe Hao's presentation here about JustLogin. Of course, it's a wonderful software here. It really makes things easier for everyone in the future, and I think it's something which SMEs and companies should really think about adopting if you want to move forward with digitalization. So, okay, I think we can wrap things up.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe Hao. Always nice to talk to you. I'll see you soon.
All right.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Exabytes. Grow your business online.